Whoa. Dang, I don't think I've made a video in a couple weeks, and you know what's funny? I think I'm wearing the exact same shirt and overshirt that I was in the last one. Well, ain't that a coinky dinky? What have we been up to? Holy shit. Well, we've been typing on the typewriter. We cleaned her up even more. And she has been telling us a new fucking story that... God, I don't even know how to explain this, man. Whew. Okay. So, I always get like, well, I can't say too much. The story will say it. I'm just going to say it all here, because fuck it. I'm sick and tired of that. As you understand it, the Titans had entered this other realm and were creating Yuandra, the planet. And from that point, they were, they found the Anaku, they gave them a home. Then they found the Astral. Outside of that, they found the AOC, or the city where the AOC are. Okay. Long adventure happened with Dove. I'm not going to explain that whole story. That's already on the channel. It's called the Forgotten series. Check that out if you want to know more. What I'm going to explain is what happened. In episode, was it 6 or 7? Whatever it was. The last episode of the Forgotten series. It ends on the cliffhanger like... that I'm Harius. That we're in the universe and this is a tomb. Well, I was incredibly confused what the fuck that even meant. So I thought, well, I gotta figure that out, don't I? Because this is the next episode. And as you remember in the previous videos, I was like, oh, I might have to take a little bit of a detour and tell the story of how Harius, whoever that person is, got to this point and how Dove came to be. I thought it would be like a simple little 5,000, maybe even 10,000 word document. Not a huge deal, whatever. At most 2 episodes. Well, we are nuts deep in that Harius endeavor, and I paused at it. Remember how I paused because I felt a little insecure because I got some feedback that just didn't sit right with me? Well, I got over that. I think it's fine. But what I had to do was I had to tell the entire story of Harius and how he came to be. But then another question arose when I got the Triumph here, Gabrielle, this old lady. And that was, well, how did the Titans come to be? So the Titan origin is before Harius. And if you remember me saying, Harius takes place on Earth. Like, that's a real fucking dude. That the whole world of Yuandra and the Titans and the Aeon that will come and all this, that's all in his mind. So I said, yeah, but the Titans are before that. And so I had to tell the story of the Titans. And guess what? I don't even know how many pages this is, but it's called Corian and Ephesus. Ephesus? Ephesus? Yeah. Corian and Ephesus. That is the name of the company that the Titans run. Because I thought, oh yeah, you know, like cyberpunk kind of stuff. And so I went on a long journey to try to figure out what that means, who they are, and it was just like so much to try to tell this story. I think they figured it out. Now, this is gonna sound fucking crazy, but this is what it is. A long time ago, there was a man, or what was he? 2/3 a god, 1/3 a man, something like that. Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh in Sumeria, right? King of Uruk. Now, something about this inspired me because there was this part in here where Gilgamesh has to go, I'm assuming like in the underworld in a sense. He goes into the mountains because he's searching for immortality. Remember, Enkidu died. He was taken because he was tricked by a goddess and all this shit. And Gilgamesh is distraught and he's like, I want to find immortality. And so he goes and searches for it, right? And inside, he meets, I can't remember the name because the name is really long and weird, but he meets the dude that survived the flood, the deluge. Okay, so that's that, right? You know, I'm hoping you're at least a little familiar with sort of Gilgamesh. I don't need to tell the fucking story. Some ideas had jumped in my fucking head where I was like, wait a minute. Now this is my personal stretch, okay? I'm taking mythology and kind of forming it to my own thing. I don't want this to come across as like, this is what it is and you need to believe it. I don't know, man, but this is what my mind was telling me. I said when Gilgamesh went in there into the mountains to search for immortality, that's a huge moment. Do you remember how I kind of talked about him and Enkidu going to the forest to defeat the old god and all that? I believe Gilgamesh is a archetype of the first consciousness of man. The first true consciousness of man, knowing how we are with civilization and our culture and just kind of technology and religion, like all the stuff that we do that separates us from animals. I think Gilgamesh encompasses that. So if you remember in there, he has a dream about Enkidu, who was living in the wild a long time before that. Now, I'm taking a bit of a leap here. I said when Gilgamesh searches for immortality, he encompasses the consciousness of man. I believe he created consciousness, which is now being called Ur-Mind, which is what we're calling it, Ur-Mind, U-R-Mind. And that is the cosmic ocean of where our consciousness comes from. It was created in a dream by Gilgamesh. So in some sense, in the lore of the story, Earth and our reality is in the consciousness, in the dream of Gilgamesh. Okay? Follow me so far? Now, the Titans. Well, the Titans are different. If you think of the Titans in like Greek mythology, and I think there's like, I don't remember what they're called in Sumerian. Shit, I don't remember. But anyway, think of primordial beings. Well, they're like true chaos, or they are like, not animalistic, but in a sense they're like more of like core and raw energy and raw beings and shit like that. I don't know the right wordage right now. It's a little late at night for me. So anyway, I said, well, they had to have been separated from this dreamlike state. This dream state that Gilgamesh has, mankind would find, and that's where our civilization comes from. We're dipping into the pool of consciousness. This is kind of synthetic in a sense. What's going on is the Titans had to be separated from that. So, what does that mean? I believe one of the Titans that we call Bahavan, if you remember Bahavan, he's the dude that is always telling, well, in the last episode he's telling Theseus, he's like, hey, like, you know, be careful with this shit, what we're doing here, and some of us think that you're kind of playing God right now, you know. He's kind of being that guy, but what does he represent? And I said, well, Bahavan's the Dream Weaver. He's kind of the in-between of the Ur-Mind, which I said is primal consciousness, the vast ocean, and what we're terming Qilphu, Q-U-I-L-P-H-U. I bet some of the guys are like, geez, another fucking name that begins with Q-U. Can you stop doing that, please? Now that is the vessel, that is the cup in which the Titans were scooped out of this. These raw motion beings that were born from Enkidu. Bahavan takes them out. He's the cupbearer, man. He takes them out and he gives them a separate synthetic consciousness, in a sense, that's separate from this mass consciousness of Gilgamesh. Are you following me on that? Gilgamesh fell asleep, had a dream. That dream is our reality. The Titans were within that reality for a little bit, but they had to be pulled from it because they were too raw, too primordial. Primordial? That's how you say that. They were kind of fucking things up. Bahavan, this mysterious figure, the Dreamweaver, pulled them out and put them on an island consciousness inside the vast ocean consciousness that is ours. Boom, there they are. Now, what happens in the Ur-Mind? Well, look at our fucking history, man. Like, warfare, culture, love, gods, goddesses, monotheism, I don't know, philosophy. Everything human beings have done has come from this dream state. But here's the kicker. That which we dip into also creates. So I said in this dream state is where gods come from. And they are thought forms. They are egregores. Yahweh is just an egregore that people made up that took life and now is acting inside the consciousness. All right. So what are the Titans to Yahweh? A threat. So this is kind of, if you know my past, if you've been here long enough, you're going to kind of see where it's all coming from. Well, Milton's Paradise Lost is interesting, isn't it? Why don't we kind of plug that in here too? So, Yahweh inside the consciousness of man sees this separate consciousness, Khilfu, that have the Titans in it, as a threat. How does he get rid of that threat? He weaves a story, in a sense, through mankind that says they are the fallen angels, or the neutral angels, that warred against God, to suck them in to their the realm of our minds to be destroyed. Bahavan's protecting them against that, and that sets up the arc of what the Titans are about. In their minds, they're like, oh, fuck Yahweh and all that shit. He's our mortal enemy because we're the fallen. Bahavan's trying to tell them, you're not the fucking fallen. You're your own Titans. You have nothing to do with that. The reason that the Titans can be dangerous is, inside of our realm, what is the highest of the high? Whether you're an atheist or not, it's some sort of deity, right? You know, Yahweh or fucking whoever else there is. But Titans don't have that. They are their own gods, in a sense. They don't make yet, because they don't procreate. They don't make their own individual little people and things. And so this is kind of where we're at right now. We're in this really weird stage where we're making this myth before the story of Harius. Once I figure out this story of the Titans, which Corian and Ephesus, or however the fuck you say that, when that takes place, it actually takes place in our time, kind of now-ish. You know, it's a little vague because I don't know when it takes place. And it takes place in a New York type city, and they're the head of a corporation. Now, how is that possible? Well, it's all this weird mind shit, these weird little games, and cloaking themselves in different realities. So they come across as to us as like these weird CEO and board members of this weird tech company. And that's where the story begins. And obviously, for some reason, it will end with them searching for the next vessel to get the fuck away from all this shit. Because fuck all this. Ermine, Yahweh, fucking Gilgamesh, fuck this whole shit. They want to get the hell out of here. Hence, the story of Harius. The fun and interesting part about the story of Harius is not where it's not just straight out. You have to read the character coming to realize the memories that he forgot while he's sitting there adrift as the vessel floating through space. Hence, where we come upon him in the last episode of the Forgotten series. And that's what we've been doing this whole time. This typewriter has been absolutely amazing. I love, when I get my hands on a typewriter, man, I love that they have their own voice. And they have their own thing they're trying to convey to me. And they're their own vessel that helps me do this. I knew that because this typewriter sat in a convent for so many fucking years, that it was going to kind of give me this spiritual tinge to it. And god damn it, can I feel it when I work on it. I love this fucking machine. I've been cleaning it just about every day. She's in pristine shape. Let me show you. She's even cleaner than when I got her, man. Clean underneath her. Gave her some new feet. I dare you to find any dust inside of here. But no, man. You gotta take care of things if you want them to last. So, I know, man. I'm pretty sure a lot of that, most people probably tuned out by 2 minutes, because God fucking forbid we think for 2 minutes straight. But I know it's probably a lot, and it's might not make a lot of sense. It's because it's still ethereal. One thing that I always thought when you write and try to create a story was you complete things. I didn't realize that when you write stories, you just ask more questions until you feel like, oh great, another book has to be fucking written. On this adventure of the Forgotten series, which, as you know, we took a huge fucking break on. The reason is because of the Harrius Codex, which is the next few episodes. And then we somehow have to interweave Coriana and Ephesus into this. I don't necessarily know how to do that, and as I keep telling this story, I'm like, fucking A, dude, it's so much. It keeps going and going. I know I've said this countless times before, but like, just think of it like this. Gilgamesh is having a dream right now, and it's this civilization that we understand. Western, Eastern, you know, that kind of shit. That's all in the dream of his mind. It's called consciousness. The search for immortality is mankind's erecting the constructs of society, philosophy, science, mathematics, religion. That's all man trying to be immortal. That's the Gilgamesh dream. That's taking place, and there's Titans. Somehow, go forward, we have Harrius, who becomes a vessel to open up a doorway to another dimension. Why? Well, I don't know yet. We're going to find out. Go forward even more. We have the Titans discovering this place of blackness, discovering these weird little beings, making a world, putting them on it, calling them Anaku, discovering an astral realm, living inside of that, discovering another realm, because Dove was off trying to create consciousness for the Anakume, but then he found another weird being who they found the place called the City, which was in turmoil, which from that point, a whole series of adventures happens where Dove comes to realize that nothing's what it really is. And Theis takes this realm and makes it into Anos, which is a fucking afterlife for the Anakume. Can you believe that it does that? But guess what? It goes even farther. The story begins on Earth, but it goes farther and farther and farther. From there, the Titans and Aeon was another set of stories, the conflicts between the gods. From there, we have the stories of the Forgotten King and his chronicles inside of there. Then we have another series of stories about the rise of man inside Yuandra. All of a sudden, all that shit before disappears. We're not talking about Earth anymore. We're talking about Yuandra, this other dimensional place, and it just keeps going for thousands of years until we talk about Eris. And it's a massive story. And the scope of it's like Dune, man. Except it takes place in dimensions and shit. It's not just one fucking dimension that this is all happening. It's multiple dimensions. I don't want to edit this fucking video. I'm so sick of it. Oh. So yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. We're trying to figure the fucking shit out, and it's just a lot. That's why we got some good tea. What I really need to do, it's like so hard, because it's like I'm in the midst of creating this son of a bitch. I don't really, you know what I mean? I don't know what people know and what they don't know, and I don't know what they need to know. I do know that this story most likely will never be understood in its time. That's something I've grasped because it's so immense. The scope is massive. It's bigger than anything I've ever heard. But the scope is absolutely massive, dude. We're talking thousands of years on Earth and then thousands of years in some other dimension. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. And I have so many different stories and so many different viewpoints that I have to do. It was already kind of laid out, but then we began with the Forgotten series, and then I realized I gotta go before this, though. It shit don't just begin with the Titans appearing out of nowhere. It all actually started with a little rough draft where I said, oh, the Titans just kind of ran through all the realms, and then they discovered this one, and they began their work. as chosen by the Creator. And then I wanted to kind of bastardize it a little bit and say, like, well, that might be them lying. It might not be a good thing what they're doing here. And then it moved forward from that point with the stories of the Titans and the Aeon, the stories of Mankind, Ravian, Eris, Quinlan, and all these little crazy adventures that happen. But never did I really realize, like, what's before all that, though? You know, I never really realized that until some years ago when I discovered what egregores are. And that just threw me on a fucking... It just took me away to the point now where just because of the concept of an egregore, it is a game changer. It has allowed me to see the world around me in such a new way. I can't unsee it anymore. There's no way. I can't unsee thought forms that man makes and really believes that they exist. Also, at the same time, we've been studying mythology, and I can't unsee how myth is bigger than what it really is, or I don't know how to explain it. I see what myth is. I see the Christian myth no different than the Greek myth. I see the Greek myth no different than Celtic or Indian or Chinese or other, and fucking you name the country and I'll be like that. I'll give you a thumbs up. They're all the fucking same. They're just these stories that hold on to some old truths, but at the same time they create a basis of consciousness within the ocean of it. Why are the Jews the most important people in their mythology? I wonder why. Do you know what I mean? Like, you are the center of it, and your religion is the biggest one. Like, that's the best God just because you say so? That's weird. But that's what people do. Inside of these, like, this ocean of consciousness, people have put these buoys up, and how do you make those buoys stay? How do you have them not disappear? Well, you've got to believe in it. That's something that Christianized Celts understood with their old gods, that the less you believe in your gods, the smaller they get. And then they eventually disappear, and they go into the hills, and they go under the mountain, and they go under in the barrows, and in the oh my god, I forgot the name of those monuments. Wow, I can't remember the name of that. But they understood that, and it's very true. It doesn't necessarily mean the actual gods themselves did it, but the mythology explains this is what happens. All of a sudden now we're all Christian. Not me, of course, but as in our country or whatever, the Western world, if you want to say that. That's kind of weird, isn't it? That's a weird thing. It's not even anything to do with this country. It has nothing to do with it. But the point is, it's a thought form. It's a mass control mechanism. It's something to convey certain points or to have its own agendas. I'm not here to fucking debate what that is, but I could see it. I didn't realize all that shit. My whole world has been flipped upside down, and as you can see on the videos, for the longest time, it sent me in a spiral of, like, I don't even know what to do with anything anymore. I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to ignore. I don't know what to question. I don't know who's right. And it just really threw me. And I was spinning and spinning. Again, as you watch the old videos, you see I'm spinning out. Now, since then, there's been a few deaths in the family, and there's about to be another one. And so that's kind of grounded me a little bit. But at the same time, it's really made me go, like, what's the fucking point of anything, you know? As you hear me go on about. And that's when it hit me. Well, shit, the only reality is the one that I make around me. The way I see the world is the reality in which I understand. If I limit my mind to small concepts, if I believe things that I don't truly believe in, you know what I mean? Like, I'm in control of my own reality. No shit. But it took me a long time to really see that. And that's why I don't feel so, like everything's spinning. I don't feel that way anymore. Because I'm in control of my reality. The biggest problem is, though, I feel like I'm surrounded in a world full of idiots, at least my personal world, where I work and stuff. I can't talk about anything with anyone anymore. I'm kind of isolated. I went down the shaman path, man, and now here I am sitting alone in this concept, and I have to accept that. Because to undo that would be to integrate back into society, but ignore my baser feelings of, I don't know if I believe this shit, but I want to be friends with people, so I'll just pretend to believe in it. Like, I don't want to go back into that anymore. I can't do it. So that's thrown me out of society, and here I sit on the edge of it, like the shaman up in the mountain, you know? I've accepted that. And I might have pushed a lot of people away, but I can't have fake conversations anymore. I can't pretend to care about shit that doesn't matter. It's not in me. And that's something I've learned on this journey. And since I've been on that journey, again, as we're talking about it, this shit starts to surface along the way. There's these weird stories that sometimes even I'm like, because I'll channel these stories, I'll just sit here and just type it all out. And I'll be like, what the fuck is that? I thought we were working on the Harrius story. What's this Corian and a piece of shit? What the fuck are we doing now? Now we're telling another fucking story? What's Kilfu? What the fuck does that mean? Sounds like a food. You know, like, I don't necessarily want to go on those adventures, but it kind of comes out. I'm left with it, and I have to fucking interpret it. Do you think I want to be the guy that says that our reality is the dream of Gilgamesh? No. It sounds weird. Is it metaphorical? Absolutely. But the point is, I don't want to go down that fucking road. I don't want to say things, and I don't want to be looked at for anything. But again, because I've gone away from it, I've learned a whole lot about myself, and the biggest thing is, I've accepted the fact that I'm not going to be understood. It was something inevitable my whole life. Growing up, I never felt understood. I feel like an alien, but I always blamed myself. You're the weird one. Everyone else is normal. You're the weird one. But it's only of late that I just realized, like, no, that's not what that is. I don't know if there is such thing as weird. But I've kind of accepted that. And I've also accepted, man, when you look back, besides all the people that were huge fans of it, the fucking Beatles, people were like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. When they were coming up and they were kind of getting really popular and their music was starting to hit. And they went through that their whole career. From the beginning all the way to their weird artsy phase, like Sgt. Pepper, Magical Mystery Tour. People are like, I don't know about that. I don't. If they have resistance, that made me feel better knowing, hey, we'll be okay. We can fucking do this. No one's gonna understand what we're doing, but when the right person does, it'll trigger something, and it'll kind of start snowballing from that point. We just got to keep going. It's just really hard to put something out, because it's writing. It takes me so fucking long. It's not like a song where I could just whip an album together in like 2 weeks or something, because I just do that. No, it's like, it's writing. It's a whole fucking different beast. And it takes so long, so I kind of have to do these videos to keep that going, But a lot of times these videos are just like, what's going on? And I can understand that people will be confused by that. But trust me, I'm confused a lot myself. I've kind of accepted some time ago, we are a conduit for some weird shit to pass through. That's kind of what it's been. I can't explain some of the weird synchronicities that we've had along the way. I can't explain the weird coincidences that have come because of our little adventure that we went on. So let's see if this is dead or not. I can't explain all this shit. I can't. I like, there's so many weird coincidences and synchronicities and things that come together that the making of this story feels like a godsend. It feels like something's come from another realm and has posing, or whatever the word would be. Nice. Passing through me. Why? I'm still scratching my chin on that one. I don't know. Why me? I'm probably the worst conduit you could find. You know, I don't like reading or writing very much, and I'm not very good at it. But here I am, trying at the very least. But it's been a very fun and interesting ride. One that I adore so much when it's happening. I love it so dearly that every time I have to go leave and go to my job and do that fucking thing and pretend it matters for 8 fucking plus hours, it's hard to I don't know, I can't fucking do it, man. I can't do it. There are so many days that I just want to throw my hands up and walk out and say, I'm fucking done. I don't care about your stupid little fucking things anymore. God, I want to do it so bad. But again, I have a home to pay for. I have stupid fucking bills that I have to, have. So I can't do that. But god damn it, do I fucking want to. Incredibly bad. It's all I want in this world is some fucking peace and to be left the fuck alone. Not yet, apparently. Not yet. There is something that we're supposed to learn at that job, and what that is ain't exactly clear. Yes, Danny, I know. So, yes, anyway, I think that's kind of it. I think that's all I want to go into with that. Just to kind of let you know where we're at. We're not just fucking twiddling our thumbs over here. We, as if there's more than one fucking person. Me. I'm not just twiddling my thumbs and doing nothing. I've actually been crafting quite a bit. I think I may have another story of the origin of Bahavan, but I'm kind of pushing it. With that one. We don't know yet. Oh, Lord, no. I just can't. It's all laying out. It's all fragmented right now, all these stories. But man, once I start piecing together and I discover the way to which to tell it, I think you're going to be pretty shocked at the scope of this fucking thing. I really do. I think people are going to be very amazed at it. And I've said this before, but sometimes it really hits. I also realize that I don't think I'm going to... There's a part of me that doesn't think I'm going to, outlive this. You know how Tolkien kind of died before he really finished it? Kind of feel like that. I don't think I'm going to live long enough to see this through. I'm going to try as much as I can. But I heavily doubt that I will. Because of how much it's going to take and how much... I have to waste 8 hours a day at a job. I have to. I have to do that 40 hours a week. It only gives me 1 day to write a week. So I'm fucking so fucked over by that it's kind of making it difficult. And believe me, I try my best to come home after work and write and work on this. I do, but... sometimes I do that, and then all of a sudden I get that weird sickness, when you overwork yourself, and you almost oh, am I really sick? I can't get out of bed, and then you realize, no, it's called exertion and exhaustion. You've overdone it again. I don't want to do that too many times. I'm only 34, and I've already done that too many times. Too many times. I don't know how much more I can push myself in that regard, I've told you before, my job is very physically demanding, and then this writing is mentally, so I can't really get a lot of, I'm exhausted. And I don't sleep very well, because my dreams keep me awake. And it's just, I try my best to tell the story, but it just takes a lot. It really does. It takes a fuck ton out of me. But I'm very proud of the series so far, of the Forgotten series. I'm very, very happy with it. I feel really good. My favorite episode is the last one. I love it. I love the Thief scene. I love the Dove and the guide interactions. Those are really fun. I have heavily enjoyed it. I really have. And I know there's so many more stories to come, and they're more intricate and more wild and outlandish sometimes, but also like more ethereal and just there's so many things that are gonna come that I'm like, oh Lord of mercy. What is it gonna be like when I'm telling you the story of Oapake, who's trapped inside his own mind? And it's like you see the scene, like the music, think of the music like this. The music's King Crimson, and the song is In the Court of King Crimson. That's the music. And the scene is like him sitting there on a throne, you know, and there's a weird entourage around him, and each one of those beings is a representation of himself. And they're all holding him prisoner. But the guard of that prison is the Joker, who's always in front of him doing his little dances and doing weird things that the little guy does. And he's the gatekeeper to this mad house. And the longer the Forgotten King stays there, the madder he goes. And from that story to the story of Quinlan discovering mankind, from that to the story of the Aevan Society in Adrana. And before that, the war between the Titans and the Aeon and all that crazy shit, like the climax of Dove and Theseus' conflict. And man, there's like so many cool stories that I'm so excited to, like, when I get that fucking out there, oh my god, it's gonna be absolutely astounding. It's so I'm excited to do it. It's just we kind of have to go back and tell you the story of how it all really came to be, so I can go forward and know where to lay the through lines. But yeah, that's all. We should probably get going. It's pretty late. It's like, what, 6:30 at night. I have to go to bed in like an hour and a half. So, we got one in. Yay, we did it. I will see you in the next one.